Jeff Gladney, TCU, number 12. You saw him highlight at the bottom of the screen. A couple other things to note. Started 8 games as a redshirt freshman. And then since then, basically didn't come off the field for 4 years for Gary Patterson down there in Fort Worth. The guy's an absolute stud. He rarely gets hurt. He's one of the most well-coached players because he played in the Patterson system, which everybody understands that Patterson's one of the smartest football coaches in both college and the NFL level. He's always matched up on the number one receiver for the opposing team, so he's very comfortable going from left corner to right corner. There are times where he's also lined up in the slot as well, so he can play in space with a two-way go. I love the fact that he can do that. There's not a lot of corners in college football that are true shutdown corners, and this guy has all the characteristics to be a shutdown corner, not just physically, but mentally as well. The other thing I want to note before we get into this play, just watch his footwork throughout all these 4 or 5 clips here. He's got the best feet that I've seen so far. He's got the smoothest transitions. He's got the best hips. He opens and closes his hips and he redirects very well. He makes a lot of tough plays look routine because of that footwork. So this play right here is going to be a 5-man pressure. He's going to get a weak side safety roll over the top. This edge rusher and this linebacker here are responsible for this offset back. And I don't really want to call anybody out, but I think this is kind of fun to get into some of this defensive stuff. But you'll see based on the way the running back releases, this outside rusher screws up. He should be the 5th guy coming on the edge. He's only responsible for this back if the back flares to his side. Otherwise, if the back goes inside, it's covered by this linebacker. He needs to get on the outside and be that 5th rusher. All right, let's get into it. I've talked about his footwork, so check it out. Back pedal, seamless. It's so smooth. Look at his hips drop as he's backpedaling. Hips drop, good knee bend. He opens up, turns his hips towards Mims as he's going up the field. Now this is all just so smooth throughout. There's never any hesitation with that back pedal and that turn to open up. And again, this is a theme that we're going to see throughout a lot of these clips. These guys are going to try to push off of him a lot to gain separation. Gladney's about 6 foot, about 185. So he's a decent size. He's not overly big. He plays much stronger and much more sturdy than maybe his frame would indicate. But even after the push off from the bigger Mims, there's not a lot of ground to be given. He sticks that foot in the ground, jumps up, high points the ball, and claps his hands to knock the ball out. This ball's delivered exactly where it's supposed to go, high and outside away from the defender. But because Gladney never gave up any ground and he's athletic enough to recover, he's there to knock the ball out and force the incompletion. Play number 2, Jeff Gladney. All right, you saw him highlight at the top of the screen. It's 3rd and 14 for Baylor. So they're only going to bring 3 rushers. That means 8 guys in coverage. We're going to call this cover 4 match. They're going to match up number 2, number 3, follow the cursor, number 4 with the underneath defenders, and they're going to drop and cover 4 drops by the defensive backs in the backfield. Watch this play as this play develops. Watch Gladney's footwork. See right there. Right there, I already love that. He sees both receivers and the quarterback. He's in a little bit of a 45-degree shuffle. You're going to see a back pedal, and then you get a full transition. See how he drops and gets his hips turned 180 degrees? See how he's in that drop right there? Ball's dropped off. Again, 3rd and 14, no game situations. He has to drop underneath this 7 route because that's the most dangerous play. This bar fly down there, don't be chasing bar flies. There's a chance to rally up and make the tackle, which he does. Watch this stick by Gladney. That's the other thing about his game. He's fearless. The guy will go down and hit you. He'll tackle you. He'll knock back tackle you. He's not afraid to stick his nose in there. You saw a lot of athleticism on this one play with the hips, the footwork, and the tackle. What are the many things that Marshawn Lynch has taught us in his playing career? Well, the latest one is, guys, got to take care of your mentals. I know I'm not trying to impersonate him, but I love the way he used the word. He used the word mentals. Well, this play is all mental. It's not physical. Gladney is again at the bottom of the screen. You can see he's got his right fist up in the air, telling his nickel and his free safety, hey guys, we scouted these guys on film with this formation. Expect the exchange route. On defense, you have to deduce as much information as possible to give yourself a leg up so you're just not always reacting to everything. You can help yourself out by pre-snap reads and pre-snap recognition. So he's telling the rest of his guys, watch the exchange route. Ball is snapped, watch. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 1. You see how easy he's expecting that? how quick that he can transition his footwork to take care of that number one in his cover three drop. So easy for him. You're going to help yourself out by just pre-snap recognition. We call it football IQ, and he's got a ton of it. Now, the other thing I wanted to get into this, watch this backside safety. This is Ardarius Washington. He's a redshirt freshman. He became a freshman All-American this year for plays like this. You're going to see him and hear about him as the years to come because he keeps covering ground like this and become a ball hawk. He might be one of the best safeties coming out here in the next few years. Let's move on to the Texas game. You see that they're in the red zone. He's matched up at the bottom of your screen, and he's matched up against, yes, a taller receiver once again. A couple things to like about this play. Gladney doesn't do a great job, I think, throughout the tape that I've watched, of really putting his hands on the receiver from the get-go. He relies more on his footwork, his body position, his hips, his shoulders to stay in front of the receivers to disrupt the timing. And that's what he does here. Doesn't get his hands on him, but because he's so good at staying in front of the receiver has to pitter-pat his feet a little bit and kind of throws off the timing of this route without really engaging him. I love that about him because he's so calm, he's so quick, he's so fluid. Now, once again, receiver tries to push off the smaller Gladney. Now, they're in the shadows, and yes, TCU is wearing these horribly dark uniforms. It's hard to even find the numbers sometimes. But that's the separation that I'm talking about. You see about a yard and a half of separation that's caused by the push-off. But Gladney doesn't back down, doesn't stop, keeps going through the play. The ball's delivered perfectly where Ehlinger wants it to. It's a high point away from the defender, but he's able, because of speed, because of his tenacity, to push the receiver out of bounds and force an incomplete pass. All right, this last play, I haven't done this with the other two, but I don't want to make it seem like these guys are flawless because every player has their positives and negatives, and Gladney certainly has some negatives to his game. So we've seen 4 positive plays, the thing I like about him. And here's one negative play that sort of comes up every now and again, but he's going to have to figure it out as he goes in the next level because this is a big-time issue, and it can become a big-time issue because of the penalty that's involved. Watch as this play goes on. You saw him highlighted. You see that pull? He does that too much. He grabs. He's a little too grabby. I get that he wants to be close to the receiver, but that pull right there is going to get called in the NFL. And you could say, all right, well, the receivers have been pushing off. And I've shown you clips where the receivers are pushing off. Yes, that happens. And let them commit the foul. You don't pull back and you get called for the foul because we all understand that usually it's the guy that retaliates that they're going to get. Slight little push off by the receiver trying to gain the separation, and he pulls right there to pull himself back into the play. Now, he makes a hell of a play. Right hand on the hip. Dives at the ball and knocks the ball down. Patterson loves it over here. He's all pumped. But that was called a penalty on the field, and that's the right call. Those are the type of things that he's got to clean up. I like a lot of stuff about his game. I think his football IQ is off the charts. I like, again, I liked his attitude and his footwork, and I talked about all that already. But that's the one thing that he's got to clean up is just getting too handsy down the field.